My name is Bob Dingman. I was an EM2 electrician's mate. The first time we walked on board, like I said previously, you walked around the corner of this building and there was this massive ship sitting in this dry dock. So they were sitting on, out of the water, down on blocks. You could look down in and see it. And there was a gangways that walked on, but there was, at that time, it was just a mass of cables and piping and hoses running that ran compressors and all kinds. It was all the services. There was no power or anything on the ship. Everything came from the dry dock services. So you'd walk down corridors and you'd be ducking under hoses and electrical cables and all that. So it was quite a bit to get around. Plus the fact that it was such a large ship, you had to learn your way around, So it took a few weeks to just get acclimated to where we congregated our electricians that were on there. There were only about 25 of us, I think, and we met in what was called the power shop, which was the main electrical shop. That was the area that was turned over to us. So and being on there and lower rated, you didn't have a lot of things to be able to do. We didn't have a lot to do, so our first class or second class would say, well, do this and then, wander around and learn the ship. And so we went from the bottom to the top, over 2 or 3 months that we were there, and just, learned and explored and did what we could do, and but we were limited because of the condition or who owned the ship at that time. A lot of the crews would, when it was the last crew, they would do, like, say, an engine room, electricians in the engine room, or what they call electrical distribution. They would do take a sheet of paper and everybody with a marker would write down what the guy's name was, his rate, his hometown, or where he lived, and they would mount it somewhere and put some plexiglass over it, just leave it there, for people to see in the future, never knowing when it was going to be viewed. There was sailor art around of all different types, different, crests and different symbols or whatever. The sailor art is pretty typical on a Navy ship, which is what they call it, is the sailor art. And you find something in some little remote corner of the ship somewhere where some guy drew something, and it could be whatever. It could be something for his girlfriend at home, or whatever. There's all kinds. It could have been a picture of the ship firing the guns, or depending on what division you were in, they would have artwork on their door or in the floor, or, cut into the tiles and things like that. So their symbol for their rate. The electricians make the symbol is a globe, basically a globe of the earth is the electricians make symbol. So that would be painted on a wall or stuck in a corner or